So I've built up a company over the last 7 or so years. So I think it's safe to say I've kind of gotten through that difficult, almost feel like you're failing stage, and what am I doing with this? Did I make mistakes starting a company stage to what some people would consider a fairly successful company? So I want to just give back some of the lessons that failure that I went through and lessons that I learned, so that hopefully you can learn from that and maybe avoid those mistakes as a new entrepreneur, or maybe even an experienced entrepreneur. So the first kind of thing that I think is important, I find it's really important to have business partners. I just don't think that I would be successful being the sole owner. I know some people have pulled it off, and some people have maybe even scaled that into multi-million or even billion-dollar companies. But I think if you look at most successful companies, they have multiple owners, multiple business partners, maybe they have investors, and they've required other people to help them get to where they are. So I kind of knew that going in, but the mistake that I made is I really underestimated how difficult it was to find good business partners. So it really took me a long time to find the right business partners, and I'm fortunate enough to have 2 great business partners right now. But it was a painful journey getting to that point, and I think I just really underestimated that. So my advice is really take your time and vet these people. They could be your friends, but they don't have to be your friends, and it might even be better that they're not your friends. The 2 people that are my business partners right now, they actually, we weren't friends going into it. We're friends now, obviously, having worked together for multiple years, but we weren't friends when we started growing the business together. So they don't have to be friends, but they can be friends. But I think really just making sure that the business partners are the right fit. And I think what I learned is that my current business partners have proven themselves in the industry and also shown that they want to be in the industry for the long term. And that was the mistake. I partnered with some other people in the past that once they got deeper into the industry, they realized this wasn't the right industry for them. And of course, that didn't work out. So definitely vet your business partners, and maybe it takes you a little bit longer than you hope, but it's better than choosing the wrong business partners. The second point that I'll make is things take a long time. You see these overnight successes like Instagram. What people don't realize is that there's a lot behind that story. So maybe there are these rare, mega billion-dollar unicorn companies that have kind of popped up overnight, but usually the people behind them, have a long career, or maybe they've been building software for a long time. I mean, even Mark Zuckerberg, obviously he became successful very quickly, but he was a brilliant software engineer in high school, and I think even before high school he was building software. So if you look at the success of most people, they've really been doing it for like 10 years. And maybe that doesn't necessarily mean they were building a business for 10 years, but they've been acquiring the skill set for 10 years. So business takes a long time, and you have to grind through those years and build that expertise and skill set. So my advice is don't give up. If you see momentum, I mean, it is good to fail fast and maybe quit before you waste too much time. But if you're seeing positive momentum, don't get discouraged, just stick with it. It usually, I think, takes 5 to 10 years to really become what people might consider success. So I think that the key is consistency and longevity. So you don't necessarily have to be the best every day or be Michael Jordan and work 15 hours a day, because I don't think that's sustainable for most people. So I think you're better off working 9 hours a day, every day, 5 days a week, and just consistently doing that over 10 years, you will be successful. So I'd say stick around and get through those difficult years, because it does get better over time. The last point I'll make is stick to your guns and don't spread too thin. I spread too thin many times in my business, and still sometimes run into that problem where I have so many ideas. There's so many things I want to do. I'm a bootstrap business, so I don't have investors. I can't spend crazy money on some random idea. What made us successful, and it took me a little bit of time to figure out, is I started to get into certain niches that I knew were going to be successful, and I was confident that they were going to work for us. So I consolidated down what we were doing down to very specific things and kind of built that up. And then once we got to a certain level of traction, then expanded back out. So when you're in the early stages or even the mid-level stages, get specific, get really good, get known for 1 or 2 or maybe 3 things, and nothing outside of that. Because if you do too many things, you'll become kind of useless in all of those different areas, because people want experts and they want high quality. So get really good at 1 or 2 things and master that, perfect that, make that profitable, scale that, and then maybe expand into something else.